from the pedestal of her hand to the desk. From woman reading, she is a misread fragment, woman asleep. She reads still, with eyes closed, liquid crystals dancing on blue-green. An echo shivers from the flooded temple of your bath. In candlelight, the tiles are broken clouds, chipped blue and white, menaced on the horizon by mold and rising tides. The jumble of our limbs attached to one another's torsos, with bemused curators, cleaning staff. We struggle to keep our heads as blood drains from alabaster. Heels form one fin at your back. Across your nape, wedges of hair read almost as cuneiform. You search my eyes from right to left, one hand reaching for the river's source, impossible to discern among the waters. Troopers. After our athletic bed, the casual crowd of flying shoes just inside the locked front door has become a party of close relations, mine, not yours, now that you've headed west. I take a pair of them to the park, past houses painted candy floss pink, as if paint could change the climate. Butterflies, overly pretty, flutter and flop, auditioning for a drag ballet. Trailing their leashes, dogs circle each other. Adults whirl, exclaim. Kids on bikes wheel around their parents in a finale with encores throughout the day. The pluck as a ball hits the sweet spot sounds like mild astonishment. A baby at a chain link roars, a spoiled crow or neglected lion. By the side of their van, like weary troopers, a family scolds and protests all afternoon, grooming each other with their voices. Should I run away and join them or pose the nearly invisible flamethrower, a flare at the edge of the family video? I set these enticements in smeared type on handbills for every one-horse whistle stop, as if they could change your mind. I'm going to read a few poems that draw on my childhood in Northern Ontario. This experience I share with Jeannette and Michelle as well, to some extent. This poem is called Whisket Jan, which is a Cree word for whiskey jack, a bird not unlike a jay. Whisket Jan, north of Muskoka, Ontario. Curled in the glacial cradle of the rock, we lie like one translucent reed, while whiskey jacks predictably mock. Flecks of mica wink. Back at camp, they read the story printed on our arms and thighs in the furtive ink of blueberry stains. Your irises swirled like wings of damselflies, the scratches on our breasts soft moraines. We claim brief treasures from decay. We reach for worn brown nubs of beer bottle glass, like hoarded sugar sucked smooth by the beach. The others lose their trail in deep grass. By the blind white leaves of a poplar tree, the salamander performs its anatomy. That was a sonnet, by the way. I to write a sonnet and a beer bottle glass in it. Okay. This poem is called Copper Cliff, which is actually the name of a town in the city of Northern Ontario. So I appropriated the name of the entire town. The hospital had walls of broken quartz, like white pills crushed in sugar. As we drove up, they glittered to appease us, a lie against the dark landscape. My father's cot rattled like the carts that held raw ore. We held our breath. From the window, the hospital chimneys aligned with the smelter stacks. I turned over and over the fool's gold in my spring coat pocket from the day my sister and I prospected in the shadow of the mine for random pieces. We were sent in silent company outside. The gravel paths on the lawn led nowhere. The lilac stood over us, a well-meaning aunt in heavy scent whose sweetness could not hide a sulphurous, closeted age. Beyond the lawn lay jagged trees, bare off a distant pine. She was coached by summer hawks to repetitive music of bush ponies and bare feet on wood. Road knowledge. Under the humid forehead of the sky, we breathed in fine grains of bracken. Along parallel dust tracks, cars ambled like bears in the half-light. You pulled me suddenly off the road until we were rib-deep in the grass, feeding the passion of mosquitoes. The stars cast a dense net, a shoal of fireflies, over my unschooled gaze. Feathers from a hawk's kill littered the path, yellow leaflets airdropped in a siege. It was early summer. We had just met. Someone's laugh crossed the lake, startling, as close as a kiss on the ear or red wine spilt on a bare shoulder. In cottages along the lake's edge, screen porches were lit like army tents for the maneuvers of summer. Opposite season, winter inventions, Alberta. In the winter hot spring, I wore icicle dreadlocks. My breaths were steam. Your fiery toes found my ankle at the earth's boiling core. From a canvas sack hidden below stairs, a storekeeper scatters salt. Burning pearls rattle at my feet. With a hockey helmet hooked over the stick at his shoulder, a 7-year-old is Ichabod Crane, a soldier slinging a captured skull. While a girl shovels snow, her jacket flares with the future blooms of southern beaches. Her dog leaps for ice in the wild spray. As I leave town, my pickup truck slides on black ice, startling the elk, their rumps curled up in a sneer, white against brown of a whittled twig, a broken almond. House lights across the field are an astral blue-green like the dashboard lights. When I lean forward, distant houses reveal the speed at which I travel, what little fuel remains. This next poem is called 1882, and he actually was there, so I decided to write a poem about what possible impact this might have had on a woman in Belleville in 1882. The next night, she swung an orange lamp of lilies in pagan circles through the garden. Her tortoiseshell comb barely held on by the teeth. From the bonfire in a corner of the yard, leaves curled up and blackened, censored. She won't go in. She will wear the quill of a porcupine behind one ear, or prick a finger to let fall a red drop on the red floor of pine needles. Her secrets are scrolled in birch bark, posted in the rosebed to an underground province. A green moth has flattened itself on the window like a dusted, poisonous lung. At last she walks back into the parlor, where her fringed silk shawl makes a lacquered and tortuous bed of the piano. To prepare the evening, she's folded up the painted screen so that the little bridge disappears, leaving only the rocks and the river and the peacock eyes departing glance. A woman weary of such parlor tricks, she has brought in his head once again on a silver salver. She will permit his fortune teller's palm on her breast, but this evening she will find his fingers curved and lined, a scallop shell, a platform for beauty. And just a few more poems here. Old Masters. For weeks in a cobbled border town, I bent to my jealous studies, reading your letters upside down. When her call rang by our bed, you turned a confiding profile as if you spoke behind a fan. Your guided tour was all uphill, lofty, informed, yet punitive. Your muscles swelled in high relief. Genre sketch when I held you to correct your swagger, drawing up the gloves of my arms into the lips of my silk dress, against the stone wall, damp and bearded within a glimpse of 4 centuries. Back at the hotel, you stroked my legs into an easel's V. The room, as small as a postcard, concealed the details. When I wake now, you are reproduced behind my closed eyes, gilded shut. Or sealing wax detains me from a private view of your stroke on my arm or along the length of my thigh. And this poem has the title of a good restaurant, Eat. A flower seller flamed in our path. She offered a demonstration rose, blue with age and scentless. You held 2 uneven stems in your left hand, while spilling coins like confessions in her direction, performing your second thoughts. As you plotted the tale of your adult life, we stood shivering from the street on the rug of a rare bookshop. About us, books kept their own plots untold, discreetly between covers like frontispiece uncles fallen asleep in red and green smoking jackets. Flowers pressed between the leaves were roses caught in their teeth. At the table in Eden Garden, you dissected a tomato rose at the ginger stem to amuse me, then dashed gallantly in a cab to an all-night shop. You took too long. The driver serenaded as you bowed out with a wrapped bouquet of condoms. In the morning, rain and coffee restored you to edginess. With accents foreign to ourselves, we held a long-distance conversation from either side of a cafe table. Spoons clattered by our drained cups. Eyes lowered, eavesdroppers grinned at the roses in our cheeks. And a couple of those. In Acadia. The Victorian houses in Toronto's annex have been redeemed. For a folk song, they now rent out at cruel rates. The dandelions on the lawns are not long for this uprooting world. Like a field of philosophers, their bright ideas have gone up in smoke. The only consolation of their art, the thought of seeding abroad, up, and away,